Well, Pacelli and Boomer, they're grizzled and gray, talking about Star Wars from back in the day. Got a talk show called Geeky Geezers, it's true, spinning old tales about the stuff they went through. From Atari to Shrek, they know every line. Geeky Geezers, man, they're feeling just fine. Late Savvy's got a lightsaber, swings it with pride. Boomer's got a game but plays it deep in the night. They're ranting about He-Man and old X-Men too. On Geeky Geezers, they're the nerdiest crew, talking Transformers, toys that twist and they turn, singing blues for the geek life, their hearts still burn. Oh, Geeky Geezers, they're living the dream, talking comics and movies, they're busting the scenes. From Battlestar reruns to D&D lore, they're preaching the gospel of geek evermore. Pacelli and Boomer, they'll never grow old. Geeky Geezers with hearts made of gold. They're sitting in the studio, mics turned up loud, reminiscing about Super Friends, feeling so proud. Pacelli loves Spider-Man, Boomer's for Hulk. They argue about Star Trek with passion and both. From Betamax tapes to their old deep 20s, Geeky Geezers where the nostalgia flows. They got fans in the chat, from the young to the old, tuning in to hear stories that never get told. Talking Ghostbusters, Proton Packs, Toys in the Box, and Saturday mornings with cartoons that rocks. Pacelli and Boomer, they're keeping it real. Geeky Geezers with that old school feel. Oh, Geeky Geezers, they're living the dream, talking comics and movies, they're busting the scenes. From Battlestar reruns to D&D lore, they're preaching the gospel of geek evermore. Pacelli and Boomer, they'll never grow old. Geeky Geezers with hearts made of gold. They're singing the blues for the games that they play, for the VHS tapes and the arcades that pray. But the spirits are young, though their hair's turning white. Geeky Geezers keep the nerd fire alight, so tune in each week to the Geeky Geezers show, where Pacelli and Boomer let the good times flow. From X-Files to X-Men, they're dropping the news, singing praises of geek life with them old blues. Pacelli and Boomer, forever they'll be. Geeky Geezers living wild and free.
Hello everyone, welcome to Geeky Geezers. I'm your host, Aged Boomer. This is my co-host, Pacelli.
Hello, hello.
And this is my other co-host, Netter of Netter's Network, also known as the Geezette.
Good evening.
And here we are.
Yes, yes.
Did you get to see the movie?
I did. That was that seemed a bit on the nose, but yeah, I guess.
It was the Minions, the new Minions, right?
Oh, I thought you meant the homework that you sent me, but yes, we did see Minions.
Yes, we had a date, and we
date?
haven't had a date in a while. Yes, it was a date. We haven't had a date in a while, so that was really nice.
Absolutely.
And yes, the Minions movie, I really liked it.
It's my birthday, says Ruby Hoove. $10.
Yes, and
birthday.
in fact, if you don't mind,
Go ahead.
she also gave a gifty to Netter. It's her birthday, but she gives a gift to Netter. Let's thank Ruby Hoove.
Ruby Hoove, you're a gem shining through. Every kindness, every gift makes the whole world sparkle new. Ruby Hoove, thank you.
And she also gifted one over on my channel going to Gavin Unit. Thank you so much, Ruby. That is so, so kind of you.
Happy birthday from the Geeky Geezer crew. Happy birthday from us to me, to you.
I like that.
I'm sorry, I'm going this on the fly. I'm trying to go on one of these restaurant happy birthday songs like that they used to sing because they couldn't actually sing happy birthday in the restaurant, right?
Right.
I'm just saying.
Exactly.
All right, man. So let's see here. For some reason, I'm seeing this editor thing on my screen. That's okay.
That's because I'm trying to get your notes up. So just everything's fine on
all
the
right, I'm
outgoing side.
just making sure it's okay.
I don't know
We're all
why
good.
we're seeing it the way we are.
It's fine. Anyway, I saw a movie today too. I saw Evil Dead Burn. The new
Evil
one.
Dead. Oh, okay. Was it good?
Yeah, but still no Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
I was hoping he'd show up at the end or something, Ash, but no,
Yeah.
no cigar. Lot of killing in it though. Yeah, a lot of, Anyway, but Big Al, welcome, and Lynn Green, I believe you were first, so welcome as well. But I take it you saw the Asha Sharma video I sent you. Then, okay.
Yes, I did, and
later.
it seemed
I-
pretty. That's what I meant. It seemed pretty on the nose. We'll get into all of that, but I'm sorry. I mean, I honestly feel like you've been in a abusive relationship for so long, and now you're complaining about it. Really, you've really enabled them to do this to you. So you don't get my sympathy.
Well, as I said years ago, a lot of Xbox fans got so furious and said they're going to PC, so I assume that's what they did. But Enigma Severus, welcome. And Netters, of course, mentions, thank you again, Rubahu, for the memberships. But yes, if you become a membership on Troy, you get to join them for Monday night at the movies, which is pretty cool. And
yeah, and you get to choose which movie you subject me to. I mean, that you get to watch.
Devil Dog Hound from Hell was brilliant.
Okay, if you say so.
If the Omen, it was basically the Omen, but with a dog.
Okay, yeah, but and with a much lower budget and not as good writing. And boy, what an ending! Just oh my gosh, I can't even.
Well, Richard Crenna, he did this. But again, happy birthday again, Ruby Hoo. You're like a hobbit. You're giving out gifts to us on your birthday.
That's right.
Oh,
That's
my
right.
goodness. Let me see here. Hey, Boomer. Welcome, JPRPH1. Welcome, Enigma Severus. Let's see. Oh, there you go. Netter's wishing Ruby Hoo a happy birthday. Yes, everyone wish Ruby Hoo a happy birthday. And let's see here. Deleted scenes. Welcome. So here we are. And this is our a lovely Sunday. I think we all had a nice weekend. We all took in a show. Did you like your Minions versus Monsters, or Minions and Monsters, I should say?
Netter did.
Oh.
You didn't like it.
Well, I will say it was not the best of the series. I've enjoyed all the Minions movies. This one was not the best. There were some funny moments. There were some things I liked about it. But there were some moments that made me realize that we are in the modern era, shall we say. The movie does, and this is not something that I feel like is being talked about, in regards to what the movie's about. There's a lot of great jokes and Easter eggs and things related to classic Hollywood, and especially the era leading from silent films to talkies, and stuff like that. And they do what they always do with the Minions. They kind of Forrest Gump them into history. And so you'll have scenes like that famous Nickelodeon image of the horse running, one of the earliest moving pictures. But then it shows the Minions like riding a dog next to them, and then other famous silent early motion pictures, with the Minions being part of it. They have their own version of why the Minions are responsible for the Hollywood land sign becoming the Hollywood land, a Hollywood sign, I mean. And but as you're going through this fictionalized movie studio and you see them making movies in the background, you see Cleopatra, and it's absolutely a black actress playing her. Let's just say the imagery of the way black people are portrayed in this time in history is offensive on multiple levels. On the one hand, they show black people in stereotypically subservient roles.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Which I guess is period appropriate. But then on the flip side of it, they're also showing them just interspersed as if, it doesn't matter. they're going to the cultural events too, and they're right there with the women, the suffragettes and stuff like that. And it's like,
Make up your mind. That's what you want to say.
are you what message are you trying to send here? Which racist message are you trying to send here? Is what I should say. Just. But again, this wasn't a big part of it. This was back there in the background, and it only stands out to me because I'm particularly sensitive to it at this point. But it's like a little bit tone deaf here, folks, on many levels.
Well, like Troy said, it wasn't their best Minion movie, but I took it in the grain that it was intended. It was just something to watch, to be funny, the Minions being stupid,
Yes.
things going wrong, how in all the Minion movies they'll do something that wrecks something for somebody else, and it's all unintentional, but one thing leads to another, and this whole big thing ends up being a disaster. So I just took it as in the grain of the rest of the Minion movies. I said it was not their best. Some of the stuff seemed a little forced, but I still enjoyed it.
And I will also say that there was a lot of great plot ideas there, but there was too many of them. It was like you could have done 3 different movies here. And it's like you're halfway through the movie and you're like, where do the monsters come in? And then there's this whole alien subplot that kind of gets factored in there, and it's like I'm not sure where they're going.
Yeah, I mean, when we saw the alien dude, I thought he was just a guy in a costume, like promoting a convention or something.
Spoilers.
Was this related to that Monsters
no,
versus
not really, but
was this related to that Monsters versus Aliens movies they put out a while back?
I don't think so, but as I pointed out to Netter, I felt like because I did say on the way before we even saw it, I said this makes a lot of sense, because the Minions, there's thousands of Minions, but they're all variations on a theme, right? You could very easily 1 eye, 2 eyes, goggles, whatever, and a few of them are named, but they don't stand out, and I'm like, this is an opportunity for them to market the monsters that they're putting into this movie, right? Well, kind of spoiler, not a lot of monsters here. There's one little Cthulhu type guy, 2 kaiju-ish type monsters, and then a blob with eyes. So not a lot to market there. So it kind of defeats what I thought the purpose was. But I did say, yeah, I did get the impression that even though it's called Minions and Monsters, I said I think they're really going for the Minions versus Monsters.
Now they did throw in like some Spanish, like whenever there was a couple times where they would ask him something and then go "sí," for yes. Now I don't know Spanish, so there was a
lot of Spanish in there.
Yes, I know, but they had Minions, Y, the letter Y, Monsters. What is Y in Spanish? It is and. Okay.
Tu y yo would be tu, y, e, yo. You and me.
Okay.
So yeah, there's I don't think it's as simple as Esperanto. I think it's some Spanish, some French, some I guess some Japanese, because when the Minion they're focusing on is talking about his big monster movie, he kept saying kaiju, to say big monster,
Cool.
So there you go. Yeah, we did have fun though,
All right. Okay. Any good previews?
All the ones that you would expect with a movie like this. It was obviously geared towards kids and cartoons and stuff like that. And what was it? We saw like 2 of them, and you were like, I'd like to see those. Not necessarily in the theater, but I'd kind of like to see those.
Yeah, one of them had something to do with a guy and a girl that both apparently work for NASA, and they're working on...
And they kind of fall in love
ships.
Working at NASA or whatever.
But
Timothy Chalamet, again.
And Selena Gomez.
Selena Gomez, yeah.
Wow.
Don't remember what it was called. It looked cute.
I don't even remember
and
the
I don't
other
remember
one.
the other one, but they were cute. But I told Troy, it's like I wouldn't mind seeing those, but not in theaters.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Because
Alrighty.
although they're cute, I didn't think they were worth the price of admission.
Right.
I saw horror movie trailers because I saw the Evil Dead
Anything
one.
good that you're looking forward to from
Actually,
that?
one looked really good because I didn't even realize what it was because it's about like this guy. He's lost. He goes to this house, and like the house is empty. He says, "Look, I need help, man. My car broke down, and like no one's in the house." And then weird stuff starts happening in the entrance into the city, and weird things start falling on cars. And then suddenly it goes to the title Resident Evil.
Oh wow.
They're making a new Resident Evil movie by the guy that made Weapons, and I saw the trailer for it. It looks interesting. It takes place during the game, but not doesn't have the game characters in it. It's like an original story in that universe. So I don't know. Looks kind of interesting. Geeky Geezers with the wrong date on it. So anyway, maybe I wish it was still June. I don't think you did. We'll find out in a minute because we always talk about the good old days. Electronic games from the early. No. Yeah, yeah, no, I understand. I understand. Um, but I remember this one was featured in, I think, in Friday 13th Part 2, right? Wasn't the one of the characters playing this? Yes. Definitely, definitely. But yeah, I did not. Sorry, deleted scenes having some trouble on this channel. I'll just respond to him. I apologize. Uh, yeah, something to do with a link to our stream and it's frozen. I'm going to tell him to make it private. Make it private. Oh, I should be saying this out loud. Anyway, yes, but what was I going to say here though? But yeah, no, I remember the football. They're all sports games. That's what I remember. There was a hockey. There was a there were other things. I think was there a baseball? Does this one look familiar to you? Yeah. This. Well, I think I did. A friend of mine have this. Here's the deal. These don't have real advanced graphics, do they? Oh. Uh, oh, oh, Troy, I think there's an issue. Sorry. I think it's deleted and Big Al in the chat and not you and Netter in the stream.
There you go. So you've been hearing us all this time, and nobody in the audience has.
Okay. Sorry, y'all. Sorry.
That's
They
because
probably-
it's still set up from last week.
Sorry about that. I should have been paying attention to this too. This is partly my fault. I'm okay. I'm sorry. Let's start over. Electronic games.
Okay, yeah, let's go back to the beginning of the electronic games, right?
Sorry. This was the football. You had this, you said.
Yeah, no, I did not. Some friends of mine did. I don't remember
Okay.
if it was my friend David. There was another kid, Ron. They had a lot of these games. We used to play these games, or what I should say is they did. They would play these games. They'd take, well, these were literally pocket games, right? You could stick it in your pocket, and then they'd bring them on field trips, or scouting trips or whatever. We'd get on the bus, and once we got going, they'd pull out the game and they'd start playing it. And I wasn't a big sports ball kind of guy anyway. And believe it or not, as simplistic as these games were, they were as much fun for me to watch other people playing them as, some of the games, people are now streaming on Twitch and all that kind of stuff. Going all the way back, watching other people play. And Maria had the football game. And so I never actually even really played the game. I would watch over the guys' shoulders as they were playing. And it's not like they were excluding me or anything. They would say, "Do you want?" No, that's okay. I'm having fun just watching you guys play. And this game isn't on right now, but on the field you would have just a bunch of red lights. And those were the indicator of the players. And I don't even know what the ST, SC, SCK... I'm assuming kick
Look
was...
at the instructions. That's how you find out what those.
Well, yeah, but you don't have them up on screen right now, so I can't. You
No,
could
I
turn
know.
the sound off. That was crucial when you were on these field trips, because when the driver's driving, you didn't want beep, 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 boop, beep, boop, 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 So they would turn the sound down, and we'd watch them. They had the only movement that was happening was you could control who had the ball and how they were moving from screen to screen. And you notice in the middle there's a switch, off, 1 and 2. 1 for one player, you were playing against the computer, and 2, you would play, and then you'd hand it to the other person, they'd play the other team and stuff. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, I just thought that they were kind of neat. I really did like them. And I didn't know how they moved and how they kept scoring. I'm not even sure as they were playing they did either. I think they were just mashing buttons, and it was fun. It was just fun.
Yeah. Oh, and I did want to say, T and Telly with Maria, I wanted to say that she has now celebrated 24 months of membership.
Right? Thank you so much, Maria. You're a great supporter of the channel. And then I said that I don't even remember really anyone having this one. This was the same company, but not as much fun. You'll notice there are no arrow buttons, so you didn't physically move. You just literally hit run, because there's really only one direction to run when you're playing, right?
Yes.
And I if I remember correctly, this game was, and again, this was with my friends not having it. It's just what I've read about it. I think you only controlled your team when you were up to bat, and the computer ran the outfield for you.
Interesting.
And so you would bat until you had 3 outs, and then you would hand it to your buddy, and then they'd play until they had 3 outs. And thank you so much, Deleted Scenes, who just gifted a member on my channel. And it went to Mexican Iron Man. Thank you so much.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is so neat. That is so, Mikey, welcome to membership.
Welcome.
But yeah, and this one you would have you see where the bases are, including home plate. If you were up to bat, you would have a red light showing up on the home plate. And then if you hit a double, you'd see it hit first base, and then you'd see it on second base. If you had all bases loaded, each of the bases would have a little red light, and there'd be a red light indicating getting ready to bat. The pitcher would pitch, and you'd hear bup, 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 bup as the ball was coming towards you, and you had to swing at just the right time. Hit the red button. You'd hit the red button at just the right time to hit it, and if you hit it a little earlier, it would go off to the left. If you hit it a little later, I don't remember, but if you got it solid, it would go straight out. And it was, I question how sensitive these controls were and how much of it was random. I think you implied more control than was actually built into the game, but I think that was part of the fun of it.
And for the previous game, SC was for score and ST was for status.
Oh, thank you very much. That still doesn't explain it to me, but
At least now you know what it means.
at least now I know what they stood for. Deleted, thank you so much for the membership over on Netter's channel. That went to Crazy Horse 1985. Welcome back to membership, Crazy Horse, on Netter's channel. Super appreciate that.
Now,
You guys are wonderful.
look at the craftsmanship on this device. Do you see how the screen, it has like little stadiums on the side? It's supposed to look like the stadiums on the side of it. Molded plastic.
And you easily could overlook that. That's an excellent detail that you point out. It just looks like a border until you think about, oh yeah, this is supposed to be a stadium. That's like stadium seating. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Now, I have a question. Would this thing actually speak, or would it at least have noises? Like I imagine when you go back, it would go da-da-da-da-da-da, and it would be like the...
It wasn't quite that advanced. It was a single note, like bit noise, and it was like beeping.
This one didn't have the
No,
roar of the
nothing like
crowd
that.
sounds?
Nothing like that.
No,
No,
not yet.
Okay.
I believe this football game, though I mentioned earlier, but I'll mention again, it was in Friday the 13th Part 2. One of the
Yep.
one of the kid, well, I want to say kids, the college, the camp counselors.
To
was
us
playing
now,
this.
those are kids. So yes.
Yeah, but the camp counselors was playing this. I think it was the guy who was in the wheelchair, actually. Yeah, I think he was playing that
Right.
football game. I think
Probably
I think,
playing it and not paying attention to what was behind him when he was getting stabbed.
well, no, he got a machete in the head. I remember that's what happened to him.
Well, there you go.
Anyway,
so,
though,
so being distracted by your electronic devices goes way, way back, folks. It's not that new a thing.
I had the football game.
Yeah, more
They
people had the football game than the baseball game.
Did they have hockey? I wonder.
They did. They did.
Okay.
I don't remember that one as clear. That one actually would have made more sense to me, and I probably would have played that. And my brother had the electronic football game. Yeah, there you go.
Welcome, Geek Flag. Yeah, this is so now we move on to. Do you remember these?
Yeah, these came out a lot earlier than I would have expected.
Yes.
These came out early to mid 80s, didn't they?
I remember I think it was early 80s, because I remember being a kid and a cousin of mine had this in the car, and I think I played it for a little bit, and I remember being impressed with it. But I never saw them again. I think I couldn't afford to buy one myself, because I don't know what they ran for.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'd heard rumored that Soviets would buy these, and use the computer chips on the inside for stuff. Like this was apparently advanced technology for the time.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised at. They did a Pac-Man. I think they did a Space Invaders, as somebody mentioned. I think they did a Donkey Kong.
And if I remember
Yeah.
correctly, and I'm going to look real close at that screen, I think that the graphics weren't exactly, they were like little dots on the screen again.
Get more
too.
scene with the Donkey Kong here. See.
Yeah, you could. There was more animation. The LCD, I believe it was. Lead crystal type graphics, and so you didn't actually. Whereas, how can I explain this? On the original Donkey Kong, Mario, I'm going to assume it's Mario. I mean,
Or Jumpman, as he was known back in the day.
Would have like several different motions to show him running.
Yes.
In this, you literally only had a static image of him running, and then when he was turning, that image would flip and go the other way, and it would just move from spot to or disappear from one spot, reappear in the next spot. Very, very low graphic ability. It was more just a placeholder than actual motion.
I could never afford those mini cabinets. I think they were pricey for the time, as I recall.
Now,
were they $50? I don't know. They
I
were
don't
not cheap
even
back then.
remember.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that that same size cabinet that they have, they are now selling those again with the graphics and game engine of the original video games now, and they're fairly affordable. They're very affordable now. So
Surprised Nintendo doesn't make one of these now for like Donkey Kong. They could just make it themselves and sell it if they didn't want to license it out. But
absolutely. But just like this little Atari handheld that holds like 100 games or whatever that you gave me, you just take one of those, put them into these, and yes, they do have them.
okay, now this Donkey Kong game brings back the memories because I got and it didn't work when my dad brought it back to the store. They kept trying to say I broke it. Yikes!
Yeah. I hate that.
Oh.
In fact, so this is, if you think about it, that's probably about a 6-inch deep game with, 6 inches high or so. They have they now have miniature cabinets that are exact miniatures of the full-size cabinet.
Yes.
The ones, and they are about in scale with like G.I. Joe action figures, or maybe it's like 9-inch figures. I don't remember. It's really kind of cool, and you can actually play the games, or you could pose your action figures with them.
Do you remember the movie Gremlins? I think Gizmo or one of the other Mogwai were playing one of these, remember?
Yes.
Like it was
yes.
an actual arcade game, like
Yeah.
full size for them, yes.
Right.
I remembered that. Let me see, though. That was the Pac-Man one. I don't know how many they did. I think they did a Space Invaders. And they did a Donkey Kong.
And
I'm not sure
interestingly,
what else they
as bad as, and low poly and not true motion these games were, the Pac-Man was still better than the Atari 2600 version.
I
Not
remember,
a high bar.
I remember as a kid feeling this was sophisticated.
Yeah.
Like this was something neat. Like I didn't
Yeah.
slough it off as junk.
Yeah.
And I was pretty discerning even as a child. So
It really was better than even the Donkey Kong, honestly. I was joking, but it's not really a joke. They really were better than the 2600 for some of these games.
Yeah, so now moving on. I remember being surprised at this. Do you remember this?
I do. A buddy of mine
Dungeons
had this.
Now, this doesn't have graphics, but it has. I would still consider this one of these electronic games.
Yes.
Where there's sound effects, there are these metal pieces you place on the board. It's an electronic Dungeons and Dragons game, and you would keep all the pieces inside this little drawer that
Yep.
would fit inside the case that looks like a castle, like a castle fortification, right? So.
Right, and those little red pieces represented like walls and barriers and doors and stuff. And I remember there was combat rules, and I don't really remember how they worked. And those metal pieces really did have to be where you put them for the game to know their placement and stuff like that. It was very, very interesting. You couldn't play it without there's a very thick, you can see it in the upper right-hand corner there, very thick instruction book to understand what was happening from time to time.
Yeah, but I remember just being very impressed with this as a kid. I always wanted to try. I think I played it a couple times with somebody who knew the rules, and it was actually pretty fun. But I actually wanted that electronic Dungeons & Dragons game, but Mother wouldn't let me. She said, "That's the devil's work!"
Well, I'll tell you what, it was kind of frustrating. You would think it was the devil's work to drive you mad. It was, let's be honest, it was not a Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game. This wasn't even as sophisticated as that Dark Tower game.
Yeah, we did it in the good old days on that before, yeah.
Yeah, this was basically a Dungeons & Dragons combat simulator to a degree. Your mileage may vary. You'd have been better off playing the real Dungeons & Dragons, to be honest.
It had a treasure chest miniature. The miniatures are nice. You could use those in a D&D campaign.
Oh, sure, you could. Yeah.
You got a dragon there. You got a treasure chest. I think a warrior and a wizard. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Now we move on to what's known as the Game & Watch. Did you ever see one of these or play one of these?
I don't think so. This doesn't look familiar to me.
This is Nintendo's own branded LCD games. I think before they came out with the NES, they fooled around with these. This one is a Donkey Kong Jr. one. I did buy a replica one of these years later because they re-released them as keychains, so I got to try this Donkey Kong Jr. And they're LCD games where, of course, the characters only have so many animations because it's basically still, but it was actually pretty fun for what it was. These originals, though, as you can see, it's got the flip top and it closes. They would later on do this with the Game Boy Advance SP and the Nintendo DS systems, so you can see even back then they were planning for the future.
Yeah.
But this was kind of neat. I do remember seeing this one in a store and debating buying it, but of course when you're a kid you only have so much money, and it's like, well, do I get this or do I try to save up for an actual NES game? Because that's when I finally saw this, or maybe I was getting an action figure or something, I don't know. So I didn't get this, but this was the Legend of Zelda Game & Watch. Nintendo years later would re-release these games for the Game Boy, and like they would have better graphics, but you could also play with the old graphics if you wanted to get the feel of the old, how they were originally. So nobody knows what this is. I don't think these were as successful. I mean, maybe they were more successful in Japan, but I rarely seen, but I did remember seeing this in the store because I recognized Zelda because of the cartoon show that was on TV, but at the time. But moving on though to Tiger Electronic Games. These were later in the 80s. Do you remember these at all? This might have been after you ceased with this stuff.
Yeah, no, this is not familiar to me. I mean, the basic look of the game seems plausible, but I like it's very simplistic. At least I can look at this and go, okay, I understand the controls: up, down, left, right, attack, and weapon. I can tell you, though, that's an LCD screen, and it's probably very similar to what I was describing with the Donkey Kong and Pac-Man thing.
So this is Mega Man 2. Of course, big fan of Mega Man 2 on the Nintendo. And, of course, every kid's dream. Wait, you mean I can buy this device and play Mega Man 2 wherever I go? Well, no, not really. Because the game you're getting is not really Mega Man 2. And I have a closer-up of one for Castlevania 2. And this is, of course, what it would actually look like, the actual game. So there's Simon Belmont killing some skeletons or some gargoyles or something, and it's pretty basic LCD stuff. And it would make little noises and whatnot. Oh, yeah, Geek Flag had these. Yeah, we had those. I think I never got one. I don't think I bought a single one of these. I don't know why. I think I just decided no. I think even back then I knew. Because let's be honest with you, back then I knew what I wanted. And when these were being touted, well, I'm sorry, there was something on the horizon, which I'll get into for in a minute. But I did own this thing. I got this for Christmas in 1989. What is this called? Pinball Wizard or something like that. Do you see this?
I do. And When did you get this?
Christmas of '89. It could have been out before then.
That looks like it could totally have been a 70s game, because you'd think by 89 they'd have something a little bit more advanced.
I remember being impressed with it because the pinball, the ball in it, while still LCD, you could see it go up and move around. It felt like it was moving around because they had all the images of it on the screen. You know how like the images sort of flow as it moves along. It
Right.
felt pretty close. It had really cool sound effects. I remember thinking this was the coolest thing, but of course it was I thought this was the coolest thing when I got it for Christmas of '89, and I played it for a few days, but unfortunately it got overshadowed because that was the same Christmas we got a Nintendo Entertainment System, and I soon put this thing aside. But for what it was, though, it was impressive for LCD things. But yeah, and it was good pinball. It was a fun pinball machine. Of course, this was the thing that I wanted. The Game Boy.
Yeah.
Nintendo, I don't know if they were the first, but they were definitely ones that made it work. They came out with a portable game console. Instead of it just being like the things we saw before, where you would just have the static game on it, you would actually, this thing took cartridges, and you could just get a new game each time. There's a funny scene in the Tetris movie when they're doing all the Tetris licensing, and they say Nintendo had licensed out for console and portable, and people were like, what do you mean by portable? And they said, send him down to Redmond, Washington. We have something to show him. And they showed the guys negotiating Tetris, this is it, and they showed him a prototype Game Boy. And then that same guy that worked for the Tetris company, or worked for whoever's trying to do the Tetris, he actually said, you know what, I'm going to program Tetris for this thing right now. And he actually had a working Tetris on it. And he said, look, if you want to sell this thing to children, you put in Super Mario Land, okay? That you put a Mario title in there. You'll sell lots of these units to children. You put Tetris in this, you will sell this unit to everybody. That's what he said. And he was right.
Yep.
But anyway, that kind of brings the end of LCD games, because the portables, I think, supplanted it. But LCD games keep being made, though. They're not gone. I had a friend get me a horrible Tetris keychain which has sound that sounds like the old Tiger Electronics on it. It has the Tetris theme. It's gross sounding, but it's on there. But I did want to bring this to light too. You can still buy portable devices with lots of games on them, and this brings us to an article, our first article of the night. Hypertech Megatep, Evercade's sister company, owned by Blaze Entertainment, just launched another hyper-focused retro handheld, one that we didn't see coming, in all honesty, and it's already available for pre-order on Amazon with a September 20th release date. This 2.8 LCD display, they're still doing LCD, comes preloaded with 34 officially licensed Activision classic games. See? They're doing Activision. They're the same people that made your Atari portable and the
Oh, okay. Yeah, it does look like...
Yeah.
It basically looks the same. Yeah.
So y'all, if y'all are still interested in buying these types of devices, they're still being made, and this comes with a bunch of Activision games, including Pitfall, Chopper Command, Demon Attack, Kaboom. It has to have Kaboom, right? I mean,
right,
come on. So
exactly.
there we go. So, and oh, wait a minute. This device has been released at a pivotal time in gaming history, too, seeing as Sony is now stopping the production of physical games. It's companies like Evercade that are bringing new life to physical games in the format of completely new cartridges that work with an array of their hardware, all of which offer the customer 100% ownership without the need of being online. Yes, you can own every Activision game just on this device. For $69.99, wait for Black Friday, they'll shave $10 off this at least. Okay, so anyway... But there was a 1970-something game, Troy. This one had been reskinned and sold in the 80s. The original was white and red. Not sure what he's talking about there, but that's interesting. But yeah, anything I missed here on the video, though, about electronic games? Did I miss any of them?
I would just... No, I would... Well, I'm trying to think. There were... although you did focus... on the earlier ones, you focused on the sports. Back then, they also had space ones too, where you would move a red dot up and down, and you'd shoot. You'd shoot at other red dots that were supposed to be alien ships or whatever.
Did I have that one? I had something with red dots. I remember that.
Oh, there was. They all were red dots.
Oh,
back
okay.
then.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, there was. And here's the other thing too, guys. These kinds of, like this Activision game or the Atari one that Boomer gave me, it is a kind of physical media. You own it and they can't take it away from you.
Yeah, no, I would argue it is physical media. It's all there on the device. Yeah, so it's it's not going to go away. So there we go. But they're neat. I'll say this: these little devices are neat. Like deleted scenes. If you want a gaming fix, maybe pick up one of these babies. They're nice. All right, and here we get into the show this evening.
Yeah, we're 45 minutes into it, and we're just getting into it.
It's okay, because I think we're going to brush through a lot of this. Unfortunately, we're not going to brush through these. These, unfortunately, we have 4 in remembrances tonight. This is not a good week, man. Louise Lasser, is that how am I saying her name right?
Louise Lasser.
Louise Lasser, my mistake. Whose pigtailed braids, bangs, and baby doll gingham dresses took the nation by storm when they became her trademark look on Norman Lear's Mary Hartman in the 1970s.
No. Mary Hartman. That is not a typo.
I thought it was a typo.
The full title was Mary Hartman. Yes.
Are there 2 Mary Hartmans?
No, it's just repeating the name.
Okay. In the 1970s, her death was reported by her friend Susan Charlotte to the New York Times. Initially making her name in early Woody Allen films, the two married in 1966 and divorced 4 years later. Lasser employed a droll, deadpan comic delivery to great effect, not only in Allen's Take the Money and Run, Bananas, and Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Sex, but were afraid to ask, but in buzzy commercials for Comet, Excedrin, and NyQuil. In the latter, she played a helpful wife to a sick and grateful husband. "I'm lucky to have you, Mildred," the stuffed-up man says, to which Lasser's benevolent and placid Mildred replies, "I know." Do you remember that commercial?
I remember that commercial, yes.
She quickly appeared on Broadway in 1962 as Barbra Streisand's replacement in the musical I Can Get It For You Wholesale. Do you think she was better?
I probably would have liked her better, yeah.
But yeah, she became very popular in Lear's wildly offbeat soap opera parody, Mary Hartman.
It's funny because it was a soap opera parody, and yet it was itself parodied by Carol Burnett with Mary Hartburn.
Oh, that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Hartburn. Okay. Mm-hmm. Did she guest star in Carol Burnett?
That I don't remember. I remember Carol Burnett played the role of Mary Hartburn.
1965, Lasser had a small and credit role in Alan Penn, Peter Sellers' comedy What's New, Pussycat? Okay, and she had a voiceover role in Alan's 1966 comedy What's Up, Tiger Lily? Interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm. She was on Bob Newhart's show, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, McCloud, Medical Center, and Love American Style.
Well, everybody was on Love American Style. It was like The Love Boat before The Love Boat.
Okay. Interesting. Or Falcon Crest, right? I feel like everybody.
I suppose.
It's funny whenever I used to listen to this horror podcast where they would do commentaries for horror movies, sort of like what you do on Monday, and the host would always say, "Yeah, this actor," and like almost half the time they mention an actor, and this actor was on Falcon Crest. It's always Falcon Crest. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Okay, but moving on. Rest in peace, Louise.
Yeah.
Big Al sent this a couple weeks ago. I figured I'd mention this in brief. Michael Byrne, Indiana Jones and Harry Potter villain, dies at 82. He was in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Remember, he was the German general, and he fights on the tank.
Yep.
That was a good villain.
He was in Braveheart. He was in The Omen. He was in everything, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Was he the king? Was he Longshanks in Braveheart?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. He played Gellert Grindelwald in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and appeared in the movies Braveheart and The Omen. I'm trying to remember who he played in The Omen. Was he the guy digging in the desert for the...
I think so, yeah.
I don't know. But born in London, 1943, Burns studied at the City Central School of Speech and Drama. But he was 82 when he died. Cause of death was not immediately available. But best notes for playing Urs Vogel, who assists the villainous Walter Donovan in his quest for Holy Grail in Steven Spielberg's 1989 sequel, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Mm-hmm.
But and he played another military official in the James Bond film Tomorrow Never Dies, opposite Pierce Brosnan 007. And in 1998, he played a Holocaust survivor on Bryan Singer's Apt Pupil. That's kind of interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, and we're survived by his wife Carol, his daughters Tara and Byrony, and 3 grandchildren Tom, Chloe, and Jasmine. So, rest in peace. There we go.
Yep.
He's one of those faces you always know.
Exactly.
Oh, Byrne was the rat that got the wife killed in Braveheart. Okay. That's Patrick McGowan was Longshanks. I didn't recognize that as Patrick McGowan. Okay. Bonnie Tyler, you got to be kidding me.
This one hurt. Yeah.
Bonnie Tyler, the singer known for hits including Total Eclipse of the Heart and Holding Out for a Hero, died on Wednesday. According to a statement attributed to her family and team, she was 75. The Welsh singer died in a hospital in Portugal where she was being treated for an illness, according to the statement, which was posted on the singer's official social media channel. We will issue a further statement shortly, but for now, ask privacy to deal with this tragedy, the statement said. She was born in June 8th, 1951 in Wales. Tyler's distinctive husky voice helped her climb to the charts. She landed her first big hit in 1977 with the track It's a Heartache.
Oh, gosh. I love that song, too. Yeah.
Yeah, which peaked at number 3 in the U.S. and number 4 in the U.K. But it was the 1983 Total Eclipse of the Heart that launched Tyler to superstardom. The track, written and produced by Gene Steinman, known for his hits with Meatloaf, spent 4 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and also topped the charts in the UK and several other countries. The song's video has been watched over 1 billion times on YouTube, while the tune has been streamed over 1 billion times on Spotify. Total Eclipse of the Heart, which appeared on Tyler's 5th studio album, Faster Than a Speed of Night, earned her a Grammy nomination for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance. It went on to sell over 6 million copies and has been certified gold by the Recording Industry Association of America. Did you do that video for one of your...
Yes, I did.
Yes, I believe you did. Yes.
Did. I went into great detail.
I remember, yeah.
About that video and the impact it had on me. It had a great deal of impact on me, in fact.
Yeah. Now Total Eclipse of the Heart. Yeah. I mean, this was a living legend, and now she's no longer with us. So.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Anything else to say though?
I will say this for all of you out there that are noticing all of the AI music. We talked a little bit about this on Friday, how the country industry is starting to use a lot of AI in the generation of their music. It's voices like Bonnie Tyler's that they're not sampling and will never be reproduced. She had a very unique, raspy voice. I mean, you could compare her perhaps to Kim Carnes, but there's so few that are like that.
Or even Laura Branigan, she also had that husky, deep voice.
She had a very husky voice, yeah. But never again.
That's too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Randolph Mantooth, firefighter, paramedic Johnny Gage on emergency dies at 80. Yes, sorry, Netter.
Randy Mantooth, that is a heck of a name. And when I started getting into the, I've kind of always been a kind of Amigo fan, but when I started paying attention to the online community, the dude that runs Migo Museum online, he's your go-to for a lot of 70s toy history, especially Migo. Has a Migo custom action figure that is like the mascot for his channel, and he calls him what is it? Brick Mantooth, and the Mantooth, of course, is named in honor of Randy Mantooth.
Now, you do know that Randy is not his quote-unquote real name.
Right.
He's actually Cherokee Indian, and that's his American name.
Right. And so when the newsletter came out last night or the night before, they're like, tragic, too soon, another man tooth is taken from us. And I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. Yeah, it's true.
Randy Mantooth, who starred as the goofy but gallant firefighter paramedic.
I knew what you meant.
Johnny Gage on Emergency in the 1970s NBC
Yes.
action show that changed life-saving services as we know it, has died. He was 80. Mantooth died Thursday at a hospice facility in Ventura, California. His brother, Donald Mantooth, told The Hollywood Reporter he has been ill for a number of years and kept going, getting thinner and thinner, he said. Mantooth had 2 stints as Clay Aiden, Alex Masters on the ABC soap opera Loving, and he appeared on other daytime serials, including ABC's General Hospital, CBS's As the World Turns, and ABC's One Life to Live. Mantooth was just getting started as a contract player at Universal when he was hired in 1971 to play Gage opposite Kevin Tighe and his partner Roy DeSoto on Emergency, created by Dragnet legend Jack Webb and Robert A. Sinider. I'd never seen this show. Was it good?
You never watched Emergency?
No.
It was if I remember correctly, wasn't Emergency a spin-off of a police drama?
Adam 12.
Adam 12, right. It was a spin-off of Adam 12.
And they would cross all the time.
But I never watched Adam 12. I, for whatever reason, started watching Emergency. And I'll tell you, Emergency in the 70s was what inspired every kid that wanted to be a fireman and or paramedic. It was because they watched Emergency.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was sort of, I guess, a hospital drama, like hospital adjacent drama.
It was, yeah, I would say hospital adjacent. It was, I think the best example for the modern audience would be if you watch Chicago Fire, Chicago, what were those Chicago?
Chicago PD, Chicago Med, Chicago Fire.
Yeah. It was basically like that.
Okay.
You had a hospital show, you had a fireman paramedic show, and you had a police show, and they did cross over some of their storylines, but by and large they stood on their own. That's what it was.
Was there ever an episode where they were having to handle someone who said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I had too much to drink," and like throws up? No, they probably didn't do that back then.
They did deal with someone having too much to drink, but no, they weren't graphic about the.
That would be an ER thing. That was more something they would do on ER. They would have. They would. But let me see though. But experts say that growth simply would not occur without emergency. So apparently, when the show premiered, there were 12 paramedic units in all of North America. In the next three years, 46 states enacted laws that allowed paramedics to practice emergency medicine. Within 10 years, more than half Americans were within 10 minutes of a paramedic rescue or ambulance unit. Experts say that growth simply would not have occurred without emergency. When you take life-saving services out of the hospital and into the field, the number of lives that are saved is incalculable. Mantooth said the stars just lined up with this show perfectly for that purpose, for a greater purpose. So good. I think in some ways he maybe inspired people to pursue this as a career. Yeah.
When I was in the late 70s, early 80s, when I was in the Boy Scouts taking my first aid certifications, they always talked about that, how CPR and that kind of aid during cardiac incidents and stuff, getting oxygen moving, getting the heart beating within 3 minutes is so crucial.
Right.
The sooner you can get aid, and the fact was, most people when they have heart attacks, it would be 15, 20 minutes, a half hour, an hour before they could get into the emergency room to be treated, and by then it's just too late. And so the push for paramedics to, and this none of this happens in a vacuum. Yes, the TV show Emergency went a long way towards facilitating that, but even the push for that to exist came from the veterans coming back from foreign wars. They'd come back and they'd look at, what would be, someone gets shot on the south side of Chicago, or your mom has a heart attack or whatever, and you're like, where's my field medic?
Oh.
And that's the whole mentality that went behind the concept of the paramedic, saying, yeah, we would, the doctors would say, look, we would train, 18-year-old soldiers who have received zero training in anything and just said, here, hold this bullet wound closed, and they learned very quickly in the field how to assist. And they were like, oh, there are things that anybody can learn to save a person's life, or give them the time they need to get them to professional help, and that's what started the whole push for paramedics. And this show was huge. In fact, our buddy Stan.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. He was a fireman, went through all of the paramedic training that he needed. So he was a fireman / paramedic.
He's now retired, but he credits this show as his inspiration to go into that field.
Good for him. Yeah. No, I mean these are. I mean, we think how much worse we would be off without them in our society.
Yeah.
Apparently, he guest starred on Battlestar Galactica and Charlie's Angels. Did you know that?
Oh my gosh, that's right. Yeah.
Interesting. But it goes on. I'm going to end with this, though. In his TV Academy Foundation interview, Mantooth got emotional talking about how in the 1970s he was saved by paramedics who figured out he had carbon monoxide poisoning caused by a malfunctioning house furnace, and how other emergency personnel brought his sister back from the dead after she was injured in a car accident in the 80s. Do I respect paramedics? Do I respect firefighters, he asked. There's a debt I owe them that I probably can't ever pay back, but I'm gonna try. Rest in peace, man. Good guy. I'll have to look for him now. I'm sorry he passed on.
Yep.
Anything left to say?
No, I look at that, and he was so young too. I look at that face. He's a face of the 70s for me.
Yes. Great hair too. That feathered hair, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, Galactic 80, I think, but maybe people mix them up with Kent McCord. Galactica 80.
Yeah.
What is with all these great science fiction shows of the 70s that had less than stellar second seasons?
Because again, it was network
chomp.
meddling. Yes, the cigar chompers, exactly. Always meddling. Look, guys, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And if it's not broke, understand what makes it work in the first place before you start meddling.
Okay, now let's go into gaming.
Oh boy.
Now, Troy was not here last time. Thank you again, Stephen and Stephen Deleted Scenes, and also Big Al for subbing. But he got to see my reaction to this story on MeWe in the chat, right? And what was I doing? Right. Was I in denial?
You have been in denial for as long as I've known you, Boomer. I've been warning you about these things.
No.
And you refuse.
They were good about physical media. You would get physical games. You know what? It would take a whole nother stream for me to explain to you how I got into consoles. Because, believe it or not, I remember a young boomer, before he had an NES, and all the kids were playing NES, and you know what my opinion of that was? Why would anyone play games on some little thing you hook up to your TV? You're supposed to play games on a computer. That's what I thought as a kid, because that was my experience at the time. But that's a topic for another time. But Sony CEO sells over half his stock following PlayStation disc announcement. So Sony CEO Hiroki Totoki, I'm sorry, that's a funny name. Sony CEO,
and you have to look at it and go, am I saying that right? Is that really his name?
I don't care. At this,
Yeah,
Hiroki
right?
Toki has sold more than half his stock in the company. A recent United States Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) filing shows that the 61-year-old sold millions of dollars worth of stock just 2 days after the announcement that PlayStation was going to cease production of physical discs in January 2028. It also came during a time when the stock saw a slight bump in price as after the news broke. According to the SEC filing, Totoki sold 225,000 shares of Sony stock on July 3rd at $21.02 per share. Totoki pulled in roughly $4.7 million on the transaction. The 225,000 shares represented 56% of his total stake in the company. Following the transaction, Totoki was left with 173,250 shares, but he also wasn't the only one executive to make a transaction after the announcement. Mm-hmm. Do they know something we don't?
Yeah, and that's why investigations happen, because, you know, it's really hard, because there is a rule against insider. What do they call it? Insider trading. Basically, the idea being making a trade based on information only you would have as an insider. But at the same time, there is an element of this is pretty obvious. It should be obvious to everybody, whether inside or out, you know?
Also filed on July 3rd, Sony Chief Strategy Officer Toshimoto Mitomo. Oh, my word. Sold $25,000 shares of stocks, representing around 18% of his total shares. Yeah, people are selling. The announcement that Sony was ending the production of physical PlayStation games sent shockwaves throughout the industry. While many have come to expect it to happen eventually, the announcement still felt sudden, despite an 18-month buffer between now and when the change goes into effect. Since the announcement on July 1st, a Change.org petition titled "Don't Kill the Disc" has amassed over 216,000 signatures. Sony, however, has yet to address any frustrations and concerns from fans regarding the decisions. Instead, they've chosen to just seemingly move on. Oh man, they waited a few days before they did any more announcements on the PlayStation X account, right? Mm-hmm. And they announced, okay, we have this new fighting game controller coming out, and it looks really cool. And all the comments underneath, like, one of them was like a big elephant, and the line was, "Address me, please."
Yeah.
Like, as an elephant room. Other people were like writing F Sony, but made with physical PlayStation discs. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
People are furious, man. They're very upset about this. I don't quite know what's going on. My suspicion is, from what I've heard in the scuttlebutt, that it might be a lot of investors pushing them. We need more money. How do we make more money? Well, imagine if we could cut out disc production and keep all the profits just from digital sales
and
alone.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. People that don't understand making decisions that ruin it, right?
Yeah.
That's like looking at your drivetrain in your car and going, well, this thing just keeps spinning. That doesn't look right. Let me shove something in there to make that stop. That's exactly what they're doing to their business here.
So he's ruining the company and cashing in. Maybe. I don't know what's going to happen with the PlayStation 6. The real test is, will people buy this thing when it comes out? That's what I'm wondering. I've heard rumors it's going to be at least $1,000, if not more, because of the components going on out there. In fact, I remember when he was in a meeting recently, it was him or some other executive there saying, well, we're not going to sell this below cost, and we think the customer will bear the weight. They're going to buy it anyway, no matter what we charge for it.
This would be analogous to, we have a gas crisis right now. Gas prices are going through the roof. So let's release... all new cars are going to burn twice as much gas, and you can't own them. You have to lease them. That's what they're doing.
Not only that, but keep in mind, because of memory is so expensive, and a lot of these consoles, I think, use SSD drives. Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Which and those apparently have skyrocketed. buying memory for these things is prohibitively expensive. I had considered getting a PS5 weeks ago before the price hike, and I thought maybe I'll get a Slim, maybe I'll just jump and get these. And then I did calculations of what it would cost for me to get the memory I would want so I could play these, not only the digital games I have, but also the ones you have to download from your discs, because it doesn't play games off the disc.
Right.
You also have to install them on your hard drive. And it was prohibitively expensive. I said no. Go ahead.
No. That I wasn't going to say anything in addition to that.
But yeah, so PlayStation 5 is too expensive, and then doing stuff like this, it will not sell. They will sit on shelves. No one's buying it. From what I've heard, I don't know if I'm really curious as to what the PlayStation 6 is going to sell. But I'm also curious what Grand Theft Auto is going to sell, because that's coming out in an all digital edition. I think people are going to say, well, we'll just. I think people are going to buy it.
Not to mention that there is so much concern about the content of the game itself. I think a lot of people are going, I may just pass on this one, regardless of how they're releasing it.
We'll see. I'm going to wait and see. This is the point where gamers or players or whatever we want to call ourselves maybe draw a line in the sand for once and say no. But this is interesting. I had done an article on this, but you sent me this WW Pro. I figured I'd bring this up as well because there's some updates on this. Xbox reportedly developing disc-to-digital feature in preparation for ending physical media sales. I'm sorry, if Sony's going to get rid of physical, Xbox is going to do it too, because Xbox has been worse about physical media with their Xbox One. I remember when I'm like, hey, are these Marvel versus Capcom collection? Is that coming out on Xbox? And they weren't sure, and then Capcom said, okay, it's going to come out. And then I'm like, great, where is the disc? Oh, digital only. Come on, it's Xbox. Because I got it physically on the PlayStation and the Switch, but don't ask why I bought 2 copies of the same game, because I'm insane, okay? Anyway, all right. I wait for them to go down in price at least. Microsoft appears to be preparing for a future when physical Xbox games no longer exist. According to a new report from The Verge, Microsoft is developing a disc-to-digital feature that would allow Xbox owners to convert eligible physical game discs into digital licenses. The feature reportedly applies to Xbox One and Xbox Series X titles and is designed to preserve players' existing game libraries as the company moves toward an increasingly digital ecosystem. While Microsoft has not officially announced plans to stop selling physical games, the timing of the reported feature has led many observers to conclude that the company is laying the groundwork for an eventual end to physical media. The report arrives just days after Sony announced that it would cease producing physical PlayStation game discs beginning in 2028. You know what another problem with this whole physical thing? Like, Sony was citing, well, more people buy stuff digitally, which people think is actually false. But I think they were also citing games that never got physical releases anyway. Like, there are a lot of games out there that would have sold physically had they gotten physical releases. And there are other games, like, you know that one you got recently, the Capcom one about the android girl?
Pragmata or something?
Yeah,
like
Pragmata.
That?
People wanted to buy the physical edition of that game, but they made very few copies of the physical edition of that game, and I think they just shrugged their shoulders after they couldn't find it in stores.
And keep in mind, I didn't pay for it. I got it free as part of a promo, so...
It's a great game from what I heard.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet. I've been too busy with Fallout, but yes.
Well, the cool thing about that is it's a brand new title from Capcom. It's not part of an existing series. So you can start into it fresh, The disc-to-digital program surfaced in Xbox application code earlier this year and is currently in a testing phase at Microsoft. According to The Verge, the disc-to-digital program would allow players to insert an eligible physical game into Xbox console and receive a digital entitlement tied to that game. The short-term convenience factor is difficult to deny. Gamers who already rely on cloud-based services would gain access to their physical purchases through Game Pass, Xbox Cloud Gaming, or PCs. And handheld devices that the title supports Play Anywhere functionality. DLC and multi-disc titles would also be included. However, the conversion software will not support discs from the 360 or the original Xbox. Additionally, players who loan out or sell their physical discs would lose the associated digital entitlement. Now, this actually, from the sound of it on the surface, doesn't sound bad, because essentially here's what happens on the Xbox, right? If you buy a game from their store, the digital storefront, it downloads to your system. You just press the button and it plays. If you have a disc, put a disc in there and it downloads the game from the disc, because I'm sorry, none of these games play from the disc. They have to download them onto your hard drive. You click on the game, if the disc isn't in there, you can't play it. Okay? Right. So what I'm thinking what this is you put your disc in there, it reads it online, this gives you, it acts like, okay, it pretends like you got a license from the store to play this game, and you still have your physical disc. So maybe it's the best of both worlds. If you were to give it to a friend or sell the disc or something else, they put it into their Xbox, you lose your digital license then, and then your friend gets it and gets to keep it on his system until you put the disc back in your system. So I don't think it's terrible. It's actually kind of neat, actually, if this is. I don't have much good things to say about Xbox this week, but that doesn't sound terrible. But they think it's because Xbox is preparing for an all-digital future. This feature may provide an important clue about Microsoft's next-generation console plans. Rumors surrounding the company's upcoming hardware, currently referred to by its codename Project Helix, have repeatedly suggested that Microsoft is considering releasing a console without a disk drive. A disk-to-digital conversion system would help ease the transaction for longtime Xbox customers who have accumulated large physical collections over the past 2 decades. Consumer response to the program may ultimately prove to be a determining factor if Microsoft has not yet made a final decision. And it goes on, the debate over physical ownership continues. For years, industry executives have warned that physical media was gradually becoming obsolete. Well, I guess you were trying to tell me this. But digital purchases have already account for the overall majority of game sales on both consoles and PC, while subscription services such as Xbox Game Pass have further reduced consumers' reliance on physical ownership.
I'm telling you, I'm hearing more and more people saying it in more and more circles. If ownership, if purchase doesn't mean ownership, then piracy doesn't constitute theft.
I have heard a lot, yes. Well, I've heard that too. Well, especially if it's something you already own and they don't give you access to it anymore.
Exactly right. Well, but you don't own it, they're saying. Okay, well, if I don't own it, then I'm not stealing it either.
Xbox, okay, so here's what I've heard about Project Helix, but these are rumors as it's not been announced yet. Some people are arguing that it's a hybrid PC console, that it's actually going to be like a PC. I heard rumors going around that you would also have access to Steam on this thing and maybe have access to other storefronts. If that's the case, then Project Helix, I'm sorry, it's a gaming PC. Yeah. That's what it is. It's a gaming PC that you'll be able to play your Xbox games on.
Right.
And if it's a gaming PC, then it's not really a console anymore, right?
I would say so, yeah.
It's like my Nintendo Switch. I could hook my Nintendo Switch up to my TV. I can have a controller and play my games. But at the end of the day, the Nintendo Switch is a portable. It's not a console. You take it out, you can take it on the road with you. I think it's a portable.
Yep.
So that would leave Sony as being the only company making a console at this point.
True.
And, well, they want it to be an all-digital console with one storefront on it, and they're going to charge $1,000 or more. And I don't know how that thing's going to sell.
Right.
Why would I pay that when I could just buy a PC and get the games off Steam? I guess they're the Sony exclusives, but it's stuff like...
Yep.
Just like the God of War game they announced that didn't have Kratos in it. I'm just saying, the sweet baby stuff. Just okay. Yep. But we're not here to talk about Sony. We're here to talk about Microsoft this week. People are angry about the Sony getting rid of physical media thing, but in some ways, I'm angrier with Xbox this week than I am with Sony. In fact, this is how I'm pointing my mood of the big three right now. I'm disappointed in Nintendo. Mm-hmm. I'm angry with Sony, and I'm disgusted by Xbox. That's sort of how I look at this. So
I get it.
Xbox boss admits Game Pass was a failure for Microsoft while announcing mass layoffs. So this is kind of interesting. The new boss, Asha Sharma, is going into this. Microsoft's gaming division is undergoing the biggest shake-up in Xbox history. According to the company's new leadership, the business model that bet on Game Pass, multi-platform, and a broader portfolio of content ultimately failed to deliver a healthy business. As part of a sweeping restructuring, Xbox CEO Asha Sharma announced that approximately 3,200 employees would lose their jobs at the end of fiscal year 2027. The company is also spinning off or selling multiple studios as it attempts to reverse years of disappointing financial performance. In an internal memo released alongside the layoff, Sharma offered one of the clearest acknowledgments yet that Xbox's aggressive investment strategy failed to produce sustainable business. Rather than blaming any single decision, the Xbox CEO pointed to a combination of Game Pass expansion, multi-platform publishing, hardware subsidies, and massive investments in content as contributing factors behind Xbox's weak financial position. Okay, I'm going to translate this for you. The previous people that ran Xbox, Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond, they kept buying up major studio after major studio. They bought Activision, Blizzard. They had bought Obsidian, I think. They bought Bethesda. They bought the parent company of Bethesda and id Software. Bethesda, they're the guys that make Fallout.
They are, yes.
Yeah. This is okay, but so she says, we are beginning the most significant restructure in Xbox history. After careful consideration, I made the difficult decision to reduce our team by approximately 3,200 throughout fiscal year 27. Okay. Our business today is not healthy, she wrote. We are operating at margins that are only 3-10x lower than comparable platforms and publishing business. To reset Xbox, Sharma outlined a three-step plan aimed at simplifying the company's structure and restoring profitability. The first step focuses on resetting Xbox's content portfolio. This includes transitioning several studios to independent or new ownership, including returning Compulsion Games and Double Fine Productions to their management teams, along with their intellectual property and development runway. I have no problem with that. If you don't want to run these studios and you just want to cut them loose, I think that's perfectly fine. What do you think?
It does. It certainly does point to the wisdom of having acquired them in the first place. I see this. We've talked about this with Iger and Disney. You acquire, and you show no plan to do anything with what you're acquiring. If you are acquiring something as a business, there should be a business reason for it. You're planning to make money out of it. It is meant to pay for itself. If that's not the idea, then what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. And I tell you, I heard a while ago, Rare were one of my favorite game studios, and they worked with Nintendo a lot. And then Xbox bought them. Microsoft bought them out from under Nintendo. And then they proceeded to do really nothing with Rare, and Rare withered on the vine until Rare is now no more.
Yeah.
And now Rare games are appearing on the Evercade, because apparently Evercade was able to get all these old Microsoft acquired retro games that they don't care about, so that's kind of interesting. But a topic though, Ninja Theory and Undead Labs will move to new owners with funding to complete their current projects. Broader reductions across Activision, Bethesda, Blizzard, and other units are intended to refocus resources on higher priority projects without canceling any publicly announced games. Second step targets Xbox's platform operations, which Sharma said have become overly complex with as many as 14 layers of management in some areas.
Yeah, that's usually the biggest problem at companies, and this is where you first see layoffs, is you have an abundance of middle management, and it's because first, companies have a real problem with trusting their employees to do their work. So they have layers and layers and layers of management upon management, but part of that, the problem with that is the layers of management pass the buck up and down to other areas of management.
They don't want to
and
get
still
blamed.
Nothing gets done.
So it gets passed up to the 14th layer, the final decision. They say no because they're afraid of taking. It's like hot potato, basically. Sharma outlined plans to flatten the organization, though, more than 5 management layers, ideally 3, prioritizing individual contributors, player coaches, and directing responsible leaders to accelerate decision-making and improve accountability. I'm not necessarily against any of this. But Game Pass didn't deliver the returns Microsoft expected, really. Giving all of your hot games that you've spent billions of dollars on and putting them on Game Pass day one, your subscription service, and nobody ended up buying the game or paying $60 for it, or $70 in the case of like the last Doom game that came out. Maybe just
like
don't
the meme
throw
says, shocked, shocked, I'm shocked. Well, not that shocked.
this. You know what this is like? This was like HBO Max and Jason Killer with the day and date with Dune
Yep.
and the Wonder Woman movie and just
And you look at that and you go, so what was your plan here? How is this supposed to make you money?
the idea was Phil Spencer thought that you could have a subscription service for games, and eventually when people were hooked on the subscription service, then you raise the price. They did raise the price. Guess what happened? People dropped the subscription.
Yep.
And then
Shocker.
they lost money from that.
You know, and this is what I'm always coming back to with this whole concept of, let's play a game of what happens next, right?
Yes.
And this is literally a Sesame Street segment. They used to do this to teach kids, to think, what if you do this, what is any parent knows this. Kids do stupid stuff because they don't think. And it's just trying to teach them to think. Well, what happens next? Oh, okay, so maybe that's not such a good idea to do. Well, guess what? When you're dealing with millions of dollars, you better be playing that game too, all the time. That is what you're paid for. Really quick, want to say hello to Clue Studio. I haven't seen you in a minute, my friend, but welcome. Microsoft has so many failures lately, including Copilot. You're not wrong. Just go back to cartridges. With today's tech, you can fit a 100 terabyte game on a cartridge of the size of an Atari 7800 cartridge. But again, this is them trying not to allow you to own anything. You will own nothing and be happy is what they're trying to teach us all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about the happy part.
Well, yeah.
So I am going to say this though. There are even people on our side with due respect. I won't call you out by name, but I disagree with you. I think that you're seeing her as a savior or some kind of this. I don't think that's what she is. It's true that some of the people getting fired are some of these obnoxious, almost like woke developers. I think one of them called Gamers Chuds at one point. And go ahead.
Let me just put it this way. You look for patterns, right? And you can gauge the future. Look to the past, you will understand the present. If you have the intelligence to do that. And you made the comparison, Boomer, and I thought you were spot on when you compared her and the reactions people are having to her to Bob Chapek.
Yes.
And what did we say? What did I say at the time that was very unpopular, so much so that I'm not allowed at a particular smuggler's cantina, which is probably for the best. I don't want to associate there any longer. But I said he was absolutely feckless and he was going to bring about absolutely zero change. And because I was stepping on people's hopes, I was persona non grata, only come to find out I was 100% right. And reality is going to crush your hopes. I want people to have hopes, but I want them to have realistic hope. Okay, hope that actually can see fulfillment.
Yeah. Like, I did not attack her yet, because people sometimes jump all over, a woman CEO. I don't care. I care about if you get the job done. Like, I know some people were going after Devin Pritchard over at Nintendo of America. I don't know anything about her yet. Until she does something that annoys me, I'm going to leave her alone, Fair. But unfortunately, Asha here, maybe some of the people getting let go did deserve to let go, but I'm sorry. id Software, this is a disaster. Do you know who id Software are?
No, I have no idea.
id Software created a game called Doom.
Oh, okay.
This is the Doom studio. They were the Doom studio back in the day, back in the 90s. It was id Software. Sure. They created, I think, Wolfenstein 3D. They in some ways they probably were the originators of the first-person shooter. And here's the deal. Even though like John Romero and John Carmack, I think they were the ones that started, they're not there anymore. There was still a through line throughout the studio, throughout all the decades. Like, you'd have new programmers come in, they'd be taught by the old programmers. Do you understand?
Right, exactly.
Institutional knowledge was getting passed down when new people would show up. Right. This was actually a lot of people, when they make games now, they use Unreal Engine. id Software created their own engine for their games present games that they make now. They weren't
Yeah.
relying on Unreal. They had engineers there that knew how to build game engines. And they've been kind of gutted now. Let me read this. The scale of Microsoft's brutal Xbox layoffs became clear by the day. Among the studios Xbox hasn't decided to dump from its portfolio entirely, we now know of one of the outfits hit hardest by CEO Asha Sharma's Xbox reset was id Software. The Doom studio, which just released a massive expansion for Doom the Dark Ages this week, will lose 136 roles, according to War Notices. It's a substantial downsizes, according to laid-off visual effects artist Derek Best. Has diminished the PC gaming institution to a support studio size overnight. I'm still in shock of how brutal the layoff cuts were. Best wrote on LinkedIn. Collectively, decades of knowledge was wiped out of the studio. The visual effects team was eliminated down to one single artist with no lead or producer. The engine programmer responsible for the massive gains in the visual effects pipeline improvements, like the particle editor work, was let go as well. Great job, Microsoft. Nothing says business success like nuking a team into the dirt and relegating them to support studio size while also throwing out massive technological achievements. This studio was fine until Xbox bought them. They were purchased in 2021. They had come off the very successful Doom Eternal that had been released during the beginning point of the pandemic. It was one of these pandemic games where, remember when people were out there stuck inside and they were playing games? The Doom Eternal was one of these games because it got launched around the time of the pandemic. So a lot of people were playing Doom. They were playing it on console. They were playing it on PC. And these were the new Doom games that they make. And the entire studio has been gutted. And here's the thing: these guys weren't Wakosos. They weren't pushing politics in their games. In fact, I remember some people, the left that criticized games. They hate Doom Guy. They hate the Doom series because it's like toxic masculinity.
Yeah, of course it is.
They made a joke in Doom Eternal too, where I think. There's some announcement on there where the announcer says, "Don't call them demons. That's problematic. Call them mortally challenged." Or something. It was something like, I don't know. I think the plot of Doom Eternal was that an American corporation was trying to use the hell dimension thing to get energy to Earth, like oil. It's a great energy source. Hell's a great energy source, and of course that caused a disaster, which let the demons out again. Do you understand?
Of course.
It was all for that renewable energy, I guess. But
Exactly.
It's a particularly painful pill to swallow around these parts, not just because modern Doom series is a great single-player, first-person shooter effort happening at a large scale. Yes, that means it's a single-player game you can play by yourself and have fun with. There's also multiplayer modes, too, if you want to play online with people also. But they put a lot of work into the single-player modes in these games. In a follow-up comment, Best said the engine team was decimated, which could indicate Microsoft will no longer invest in id Tech, the studio's in-house engine with roots in just about every first-person shooter worth talking about. Writing on the wall is getting relegated to support studio size and moving to Unreal. Oh, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate Unreal, but they use it for everything.
And not only that, this is the problem. If there is no diversity of platform, you end up with a monopoly, and when you start building infrastructures on top of things, there is no way to innovate. It is a real problem.
Yeah. I don't want to get into it on this stream another time, but I almost feel like gaming. I don't want to use the word crash because that gets thrown around a lot, but man, I think we're going to see a sea change coming. And I feel like all the games I get excited about are all these indie titles I see commercials for on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, what system is it coming out for? What? Oh, Steam. Steam, because I think they see the writing on the wall and they don't want to bring stuff out on consoles. Todd Boyce, lead visual effects at id, said he also chimed in on the same thread. This is what insanity and despicable corporate greed looks like. What a complete disregard for people who spent months working unpaid overtime to make the DLC for an engine that has constantly been the industry standard for performance. It's pretty insulting how it was done, when it was done, and what it will do to the id brand and those still employed for now. PC Gamer has reached out to Bethesda for comment on id's future and will update it if reply comes in. So basically, Bethesda bought id. Bethesda had a parent company. Microsoft bought the parent company to get Bethesda, and I guess id came along with it. And now they're basically gutting the studio. And it was a good studio, too. It wasn't... They did their job. Like, you complain about people taking forever with games and releasing subpar product, but these guys release good product. And no, they didn't make those awful Wolfenstein games. I know you think they might have because they made the original. That was farmed out by Bethesda to Machine Games. It was not involved in those, but... another article, one Doom developer has a scathing message for anyone celebrating layoffs. This week saw Microsoft and Xbox initiate the single biggest layoff wave in gaming brands history, with 3,200 Xbox and game development roles cut, 1,600 immediate, and another 1,600 throughout the next 12 months, as well as 4 studios divested from Xbox Game Studios publishing division. Alongside the team developers at Cinemax and Bethesda, one studio that's been hit especially hard by the layoffs is id Software, the steward of the iconic and legendary shooter franchise Doom. It's come to light that roughly half of the entire studio has been discharged, including both game developers and staffers working on its id Tech games. The shock extends to id developers themselves, many of whom have taken to social media platforms to express their astonishment and frustrations with the layoffs. One such employee, gameplay animator Scott Chow, has reacted to them with a scathing message for both Microsoft as well as those celebrating and worshiping the cuts as a move in the right direction. For my friends and followers who don't work in game development, celebrating and worshiping that the layoffs yesterday were necessary for change and a move in the right direction, I sure hope the 6th round of layoffs is worth our pain and your pleasure, wrote Chow. After all, things are going to be different this time around, right? Here's what's going on.
Good point.
I think people see some of these like woke developers, the ones that attack the gamers, and they're like, yay, they're getting fired. And yeah, some of them are getting fired, but they're not just focusing on them. Other people, competent people, are getting caught up in this, like the guys over at id, and they're getting axed too. I don't think Asha Sharma she's not our champion, people. She's just not. You're going to learn this as time goes on. Regardless, so Chow's post features
we
an image.
need to start doing this, Boomer. When you make a prediction like that, make a clip of this so that we can bring and write a little note that says it was on this date, this time, this is what we said. Go back and listen. I knew what I was talking about.
I'll make a note about it, because basically what's going to happen is people are I mean, one guy, like I don't want to call him up by name. He's a good guy on YouTube, but he was petitioning. He was trying to talk to Asha Sharma. Asha Sharma, you can be the one to save physical games and stick it to Sony and say how right we're. And I'm like, dude, she's not on our side.
Yeah,
it's like
you're preaching peace to the emperor. You know, that's not. Yeah. The Boomer was right files. That's what I'm basically saying. You should be starting the Boomer was right files.
Even I have a Steaming account. Maybe I'll start playing Fallout 4. Yeah, and you can also play the Doom games, which are perfectly optimized for PC. This was actually a problem. One of the reasons why I tried to explain to Troy, sometimes in the past when games would get ported to PC from a console, they would be crap. They're doing a lot better now than they used to, though. Now they play right, but they used to just dump them on there and not care. Yeah, we hope our pain was worth it. That was the next article, but yeah, I just talked about that one. And you sent this to me, and I was like, what?
Yep.
Wait a minute. Xbox CEO Asha Sharma named advisor to U.S. Federal Reserve for Task Force Productivity and Jobs?
There's something more here. I don't know what it is, but when I saw this, I'm like, this is right up there with Obama is nominated. It hasn't even been elected president yet, and he wins the Nobel Peace Prize. And even he was like, what? And I see the same kind of thing happening here.
The U.S. Federal Reserve, we love them, don't we? Okay.
Oh, God. And the Fed. and the Fed.
has announced new task forces for advancing monetary policy led by Chairman Kevin Warsh. List of advisors for each task includes Xbox CEO Asha Sharma. The Federal Reserve's commitment to price stability and maximum employment is unwavering, as is our resolve to pursue our mandate with rigor, writes Chairman Kevin Warsh in a press release. The U.S. economy has changed significantly over the last generation, and never more so than right now. Each task will carefully consider whether policymakers' means and methods, analytical tools, and policy approaches. Just get to the point. Okay.
Yeah.
The 5 task forces are communication, balance sheet policy, data, productivity and jobs, and inflation frameworks. Each will be co-led by external advisors with deep expertise in their fields. Xbox CEO Asha Sharma has been named as one of the 3 advisors for the Productivity and Jobs Task Force, which aims to assess the economic impact of a new general-purpose technologies, including artificial intelligence, to inform the Federal Reserve's policy judgments. This smells to me.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's something here.
I know she used to work in the AI portion of Microsoft, so maybe that's why they hired her. But
No, she's got something on somebody.
maybe. I'm not liking this. But I sent you that short video before the stream.
Yes.
And Phil Spencer, guys, I'm just tired of getting punched in the sweet spot all the time by you. Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm retiring. And then Asha shows up, and Asha's like, "Oh, I'm going to give you. It's all about you, the gamer, and about bringing back all your favorite franchises and everything." Oh, that's great. And then he hugs her, and then she says, "And I'm
now
laying
it's
off
my turn." Yeah, exactly.
And now she kneed him in the groin.
Exactly.
And then as she leaves, she says, "See you around, nerd."
Yeah.
Oh, Bird. Oh, maybe she's got good. Oh, Nate. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Maybe
You always assume that there's something there, but and when you're dealing with corporations and politicians, it could just be as simple as that. You know.
On some lighter news tonight, we will continue to monitor the situation,
Right.
Because we're not done yet. Keep in mind that the layoffs that have happened, that's only half of them right now. There's gonna be more. What do you think of this? Donkey Kong arcade set services and new Lego leak.
That's kind of cool. That is kind of cool.
Yeah, they did one of these for Pac-Man years ago. Now they're doing a Donkey Kong one. I think it looks rather cool.
Yeah.
This is another Lego temptation. I don't think I don't know if I'm going to bite because there's still the X-Files set coming out. That might be the one I finally bite on. But last month, Nintendo teased a brand new Lego Donkey Kong set via Nintendo Today app. In an update, it seems to have now gone. I didn't realize this is what it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like Donkey Kong Country and like a play set. No, this is the Donkey Kong arcade game.
Yeah.
It looks like it too, doesn't it?
It does.
It's going to be $200 USD and contains 1,367 pieces. Believe it or not, I don't think that's an awful price. It just depends on how large it is. But I guess there'll be videos on this. So, I mean, it is expensive, but that's partly because of the Nintendo license, obviously.
Yeah.
That's why I noticed I was trying to buy unlicensed sets because they're cheaper. But I don't know. Thought it was kind of cool. I don't know. Looks like the game, doesn't it? I think the pieces can move around they may have it where there's like a crank in the back and you can move the characters around or something.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah, I think they did that with the Super Mario Brothers. They've done several. They did an Atari replica console once. They did the Pac-Man arcade game. They did a Nintendo replica console once, and now they're doing this Donkey Kong machine. So I don't know. Looks cool. But you need if you could actually play it, right?
Right.
I don't know how that would work, though. Actually, with the way memory's going, maybe this will be the future of games. It'll be all mechanical.
It'll be, all mechanical. Although I do have to admit that when I first looked at this, what I thought was you're building a framework and then you slide a mobile device into it. And that was your screen.
Oh, people will do that.
Oh, yeah.
People did that with the Lego Game Boy that came out. They turned it into an actual Game Boy.
It doesn't
You know,
surprise me.
they
Doesn't
put the
surprise me at
electronics
all.
in there. Yeah. And our final story of the night. Sorry, it was all game related tonight, guys, except for the
Good.
Remembrances,
It was a big week. Yeah.
but we do have some DC related news.
Oh, this is going to save the Gunverse. Let me tell you, this is big news.
Jimmy Tatro circling major role in Jimmy Olsen's Superman spin-off series. Are you excited?
Not at all.
Jimmy Tatro is in talks to join the live-action Superman spin-off series DC Crime in the role of Gorilla Grodd. Sources close to the production tell Deadline. The news arrives before the Jimmy Olsen series has officially received a green light. Dude, if it's just him in a gorilla suit instead of him voicing a CGI character, I might tune in. I'm joking, of course.
I don't know. The point is, this was, and the reason I was sending this to you is because this is directly tied to us bringing this up last week, and I thought it was ridiculous to begin with, this whole Gorilla Grodd / Jimmy Olsen thing to begin with. But apparently this is what constitutes news these days.
When I tell people there's going to be a Jimmy Olsen Gorilla Grodd series, they don't believe me.
I know.
They don't think this is a thing, and I'm trying. Yes, it is. This is. DC describes the character as a hyper-intelligent telepathic ape who has sought to rule both the simian and human worlds though the Flash has frequently thwarted his plans. Are we going to see the Flash on this thing? Because maybe you should do like a Flash movie without Ezra Miller as the Flash and have him fight Gorilla Grodd. You know,
because
like a superhero movie.
Because again, this is James Gunn in the Gunverse, and instead of setting up your pillars, you know, again, he's building the walls and the ceiling without building the basement, the structure. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like he wants to build his man cave, and there are no walls let. You know,
right?
DC Crime is billed as being akin to a true crime docuseries with Jimmy Olsen for Superman hosting, played by Skylar Gisondo in the summer blockbuster directed. Yeah, I assume he's going to be on the show. What else is he doing right now? Okay, season 1 reportedly will be centered around DC bad guy Gorilla Grodd, who often wrestles the Flash. Grodd has psychic powers and other skills after his encounter with an alien spaceship. The character.
I do have to interrupt and point out that what this author is doing is referencing the comics so that you understand what Gorilla Grodd is. And you shouldn't have to do that. Gorilla Grodd should be introduced as a villain character in a Flash movie. That's how you establish this stuff.
Clayface and Grodd before Batman and Wonder Woman.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly my point, deleted.
Gorilla Grodd is one of my favorite DC villains, might be my favorite DC villains. And he's one of the Flash's rogues gallery, right? Right. They say next to Batman, the Flash has the next best rogues gallery. I don't understand this. I don't understand what they're doing. I saw the trailer for the Clayface movie again before this movie, because it's considered a horror movie, but set in the DC universe.
Of course.
Okay, my big objection with this, he's not Ginger. Jimmy Olsen.
No, he's not playing Jimmy Olsen. He's playing the gorilla.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, then he could be whatever.
It doesn't matter what he looks like, yeah.
But no, Jimmy Olsen, I believe, wasn't a ginger in the movie either. I could be wrong,
right.
though. I don't remember.
I actually don't remember now. Right?
Superman was not a blockbuster. Yes, it was. According to Zaslav, it was.
According to Zaslav, of course it was.
Actually, speaking of Zaslav, where has he been?
On an island sipping Mai Tais.
I've not heard from him since the sales were going to go through. Like, he doesn't talk anymore.
His whole goal is to retire, and he's halfway into it.
Do you think we're going to have this guy just in a gorilla suit? They won't spend money on the CG because it's TV.
You know, that might actually be an intelligent way to go. I don't see them doing that, though.
You know, in the Snyderverse, maybe Gorilla Grodd would have been an insane man that just dressed as in a gorilla suit.
You know, you've got a point there.
Actually, no, correction. That would be in the Nolan verse. Nolan would have
exactly.
Had
no, you're exactly right. That would be the Nolan verse.
He would have been one of these fake psychics on TV that couldn't really
Right.
read people's minds, and then he would don a gorilla suit when he gets outed as a fake psychic, and these gorilla. Yeah, that would be the Christopher Nolan version of Gorilla Grodd.
You're probably right. Exactly.
So bad. I'm sorry. I love Gorilla Grodd. Powers Booth voiced him on Justice League. I was very excited because they always pick the perfect voice actors on those DC cartoons, and it's, but it's okay. He was the main villain in Sin City. Remember Powers Booth? He was the senator. Yeah. All right. That ends Geeky Geezers for this week. I believe we do have something coming up on Deleted Scenes channel. Correct?
Yep.
Double check that, yeah.
If you stay right where you are on my channel, you will be auto-dramatically teleported over to Deleted Scenes for his reserved seats. And then hopefully right after that, he will auto-dramatically shoot you back to my channel for late night Doctor Who as the TARDIS crew tries to take a vacation in ancient Rome. Only to have half the crew wander off because that's what the Doctor does, and the other half get taken as slaves. So, Doctor Who, the Romans.
Yes, Doctor Who, the Romans. Well, that's how they were back then.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Can I just address this? I know
Sure.
it's what's my show. Age Boomer. They may use the gorilla suit from the movie The Zookeeper. I want a scene with Jimmy Olsen taking Gorilla Grodd to TGI Fridays. Like The Zookeeper. Just take me to TGI Fridays and I won't become a supervillain, right?
There you go.
All right, y'all. You have a good night. I think with a my Mac wants to update. Remind me later because I don't want to do it while the stream is going on. Okay.
You think? Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
All right, man. I'll play out the outro and check out Steven's channel for reserved seats. I was on there last week.
Right here, you will be redirected.
Yes. I was on there last week,
Yes, you were.
Yes.
Yes,
All
you
right.
were.
Well,
All right. Take it easy.